Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. I am back. So, 3 weeks ago, I left out of here for vacation. And then I had 2 weeks at a school that I had to do in Greensboro, North Carolina. And in Greensboro, I had a hell of a good time. I'm up there in age. I know I say that a lot, but as I grow older, I start to realize that there's a lot of things that I took for granted when I was a youth. And one of the things that I took for granted was the ability to learn from other people. And helping teach these classes is incredibly rewarding. Vacation was obviously a great time. I went with family members and we really enjoyed Blue Ridge, Georgia. That's where we went on vacation, and it was a blast. But the school, it really does hit home with me when I see these younger people. Not all of them were younger. I had some 40-year-olds, and I think I had one in the 50s. But seeing them learn how to drive a big rig and advancing their life toward a goal. And initially, so most of these people have a lot of experience moving trailers around in a very confined yard. We call them yard jockeys. One of the guys calls him a hostler, calls himself a hostler, which I didn't know what that was. I'd never heard that term before, so I looked it up and figured out what the etymology of hostler was. And that is someone who keeps horses for someone else. So I guess that eventually transferred to the point where, you're keeping trailers and you're moving them around and taking care of those for your company, a hostler. So, words change meanings over the years, but a lot of these guys had a lot of experience moving trailers and backing trailers. And they used something called there's a lot of different names. The one I commonly used was Ottawa. And an Ottawa is a brand of tractor that you move trailers with. Actually made in, or it used to be, I don't know if it still is, Ottawa, Kansas. This didn't exactly kind of pick up where they left off at the yard, because those trailers are typically single drive axle and very small, and they can turn on a dime very quickly. The one that we trained them in was a full sleeper with twin drive axles called tandem. It didn't exactly translate well for some of these people. We had one lady there, and she really shined because she didn't have to get over that particular hurdle of having driven these yard jockey trucks, these yard trucks. So when she started off backing, she was able to listen to the instructors and kind of take to it immediately. Meanwhile, the guys that were yard jockeys that shuffle trailers around at their yards, they had a little bit of trouble letting go. They had a little bit of trouble kind of releasing control to the instructor who was telling them how to turn their wheel. Eventually, they all got it. We had 12 people start the class. We had 12 people graduate from this portion of the program. Now, my company has there's no other word for it than thorough driver training course. It's an incredible course. I've never heard of any other company doing this style of teaching or training people to become drivers. Usually you go 6 to 8 weeks in a training course, and then you're given a week with another driver, and then they put you out on the road. That always kind of felt flimsy to me, kind of thin. Not enough training there. So this company that I'm with now, they actually, oh my goodness, we have 2-week kind of boot camp setting where we're just giving them the basics and making sure that they have the aptitude to make it in this job. And we do some road driving, not as much as I'd like, but we do some road driving. I think that's going to increase over time. And then they go back to their home domicile and they start the real world training. And that's involved going with a trainer one-on-one for 4 weeks minimum. And that 4 weeks, they get all kinds of one-on-one training with a single instructor. And that is incredibly valuable. The idea that a company is willing to put an experienced driver with an inexperienced driver to give him one-on-one training is unheard of. After that, there's I think it's 6 weeks of local running, and then they do something we call line haul, which is between terminals back and forth. That usually runs at night, except on the weekends. It's an incredible program. They're given more hours of training than any place I've ever heard of, any other company, any other course. And the idea that they're getting one-on-one training is phenomenal and so helpful. I also learned that I'm not doing as good a job as I can as a trainer at my domicile. I've learned that I need to tighten up my skills a little bit, and I've committed to do that the next time I train someone. Probably won't make that person very happy, but when they leave my tutelage, if you will, they will know the truck inside and out. There's learning going on for everybody, the instructors and the students. While I was up there, I've been eating restaurant food now for 3 solid weeks. I came home for a couple days and then right back out to the training, and it's nothing but restaurant food. And I'll tell you this, my gut's glad to be home back on my regular food regimen. But I thought I'd drop in and just kind of give a recap about this training that I was giving other drivers. And it's so rewarding. It's so good to see people advance past that initial stage when they first come to the school, and you actually get to see them progress. And you can see it's a marked improvement. The biggest improvement is after the first week. The first week is really rough on them. There's not a lot of sleep going on, and there's a whole lot of studying. There's a lot of book work involved. It's not just throw them into the truck and have them drive. There's a lot of book work involved. And there's learning. We use something called the Smith system. Some of you may have heard of it. I think they use it in the civilian world or the non-commercial drivers world as well at some schools, but it's a very effective thing. I actually credit it for saving my life a couple times. If you get a chance to do the Smith system, I would encourage everybody to do it. But I just want to touch base. Some of the students have discovered that I have a podcast, and I'd like to give a special shout out to those students because you guys did a heck of a job. We had some drama and some worries and some doubts along the way, like every class does, but you guys overcame. You guys got it done, so to speak. And I think that you guys are going to make some excellent drivers. Remember, and I've said this a few times to I think everybody in the class at some point, the people on the road, they cut you off, that person may be having a rough day, just like you may have a rough day. The people on the road who make a mistake, adjust, compensate for those mistakes, because you too are going to make a mistake. And hopefully people surrounding you will compensate for your mistake. That's kind of the social contract we have on the highways. It's kind of what driving is all about, dealing with everybody's mistakes and trying to minimize your own. I'm going to go spend some time with the family. I think I'll be back on my regular schedule, a short podcast on Monday and maybe a little lengthier as we go. Still working on the student loan podcast. That'll be coming out fairly soon. It's gonna upset both sides, but it's gonna happen. I really had a good 3 weeks. I'm also very glad I'm home and going to be going back to my normal schedule. Until next time, I hope that you all go out there and find peace, love, and dreams. Until next time, ciao.